Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going on a seriously epic biochemical adventure. We're going to trace the path of one of the absolute most misunderstood molecules in the human body. We'll be following the heroic molecular quest of vitamin D, starting all the way from a dormant little molecule on the surface of your skin and traveling right down to the very nucleus of your cells, where it acts as a literal master key for your DNA. Okay, let's just dive right into this because right out of the gate, we've got to bust a massive myth. If you're like most of us, you probably learned back in elementary school that vitamin D is just a simple nutrient you need to get from your milk to build strong bones, right? Well, the truth is vastly more fascinating and way more complex than just a simple nutrient.
The awe-inspiring reality here is that vitamin D isn't actually a vitamin at all. It's technically what we call a steroid. That is a highly potent steroid hormone characterized by this unique broken ring structure. It doesn't just sit around in your bones. It travels through your entire bloodstream to orchestrate cellular signaling, and it literally controls genetic expression across your entire body, often really far from where it was originally created.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting the sunshine origin story, the double organ upgrade, unlocking the cell, regulating the system beyond bones into immune defense, and finally, the brakes and toxicity. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The sunshine origin story. The trial by fire.
So, when your skin is exposed to solar UVB radiation, specifically in this super narrow 295 to 300 nanometer wavelength band, that pure energy literally cleaves or breaks open the B ring of a molecule called 7-dehydrocholesterol. It's just wild to think that pure light can physically snap a molecule's structure like that. This trial by fire forms an unstable intermediate called pre-D3. And because it's unstable, the natural heat radiating from your own body causes it to undergo a thermal isomerization to become cholecalciferol, which is what we all know as vitamin D3.
Now you might be wondering, what happens if you spend all day out at the beach? Why don't you just overdose on vitamin D? Well, your skin has these incredibly smart, built-in cutaneous failsafes. During prolonged sun exposure, the pre-D3 and D3 actually absorb those excess UVB photons and isomerize into biologically inactive photoproducts. We call those lumisterol and tachysterol. Basically, they act as a photobuffer, completely preventing toxic overdoses or, if you want the medical term, hypercholecalciferosis. Try saying that 3 times fast. But yeah, no matter how long you stay out in the sun, this brilliant system keeps you totally safe.
Section 2. The double organ upgrade. Preparing the master key.
All right, so vitamin D3 leaves the skin and binds the vitamin D binding protein, or DBP for short, so it can travel to its critical upgrade stations. First up, it hits the liver. The liver uses an enzyme called CYP2R1 to add a hydroxyl group, creating calcifediol. Now, this is the storage form of the vitamin, the one your doctor is actually looking at when you get a blood test, but it's not fully active yet. It then travels to the kidneys where the CYP27B1 enzyme performs the ultimate upgrade. This is where it forges the fully active systemic hormone known as calcitriol. It's literally like unlocking a massive biological superpower right there in your kidneys.
Section 3. Unlocking the cell. The nucleus awaits.
So before it can actually do its job, calcitriol has to get inside the cell. But remember that carrier we mentioned, the vitamin D binding protein? Over 99% of our hormone is locked tightly onto it in the blood. According to the free hormone hypothesis, it's only the tiny remaining fraction of free, unbound, lipid-soluble calcitriol that can actually slip through the cell's plasma membrane and make its way into the nucleus.
Once it's inside, calcitriol acts like a master key. It docks perfectly into the vitamin D receptor, or VDR. The VDR then pairs up with a partner protein called the retinoid X receptor, or RXR. Working together, this complex hunts down very specific sequences on your DNA called vitamin D response elements. Then it recruits these SRC co-activators, and this is the amazing part. It literally relaxes the chromatin. It unwinds the incredibly tight packaging of your DNA, opening it up so it can directly initiate gene transcription. Our hero is now actively rewriting your cellular code.
Section 4. Regulating the system. The Calcium Balancing Act.
Check out how this process works like a highly coordinated biological assembly line, all geared toward executing the classical goal of this genomic rewriting, getting calcium into your blood. Calcitriol upregulates specific transport proteins in your intestine. First, calcium enters the cell through these TRPV6 channels. Then, to prevent cellular toxicity, it gets safely shuttled across the cell by a protein called calbindin D9K. And finally, it's forcefully pumped out the other side into your bloodstream via PMCA1B and NCX1 pumps. It's molecular logistics at its finest.
And this entire assembly line is strictly governed by a really beautiful endocrine feedback loop. Think of it like the pedals in a car. If your calcium drops, your body hits the gas by releasing parathyroid hormone, or PTH, which tells the kidneys to synthesize more calcitriol. But if phosphate gets too high, your bones release fibroblast growth factor 23, FGF23, which basically slams on the brakes. It represses the production of calcitriol and actively causes its degradation. This perfect, continuous loop is what strictly governs our skeletal health.
Section 5. Beyond Bones. Immune Defense. The Secret Extrarenal Arsenal.
To really grasp this next superpower, we've got to contrast the kidney with our immune cells, specifically the macrophages. In the kidney, everything is systemic. It's strictly regulated by those hormones we just talked about, with perfectly intact negative feedback loops. But over in your macrophages, completely different story. It's localized, autonomous warfare right down in the trenches. It's triggered by immune signals like interferon gamma, resulting in this unregulated, persistent synthesis of active vitamin D right at the actual site of an infection.
So when a macrophage detects a pathogen using its toll-like receptors, it actually starts forging its own active calcitriol right there on the spot. No kidney required. It's pretty awe-inspiring how the body handles this autonomously. This localized hormone gets trapped inside the immune cell, heads straight to the nucleus, and induces the transcription of heavy-duty antimicrobial peptides, like catalycidin, also known as LL37. This internal arsenal is so incredibly potent that it can obliterate persistent intracellular threats like tuberculosis. Our hero is literally arming the troops from the inside out.
Section 6. The Brakes and Toxicity. When the code fails.
Here's the crucial point. This hormone is incredibly powerful. Actually, it's so powerful that it must be destroyed once its job is done. Enter CYP24A1, the 24-hydroxylase enzyme. Calcitriol actually induces the creation of this very enzyme to cause its own rapid degradation into inactive calcitroic acid. It's basically an honorable sacrifice. Because without this specific enzymatic brake pedal, our bodies would rapidly absorb way too much calcium, and that leads directly to lethal systemic toxicity.
You can really see how vital every single step of this journey is when we look at genetic mutations. If the CYP2R1 gene mutates and you lose that first upgrade step in the liver, it results in a severe form of rickets. If you lose the VDR receptor entirely, you also get rickets, plus alopecia, or hair loss. But what happens if you lose CYP24A1, that crucial brake pedal we just talked about? It results in idiopathic infantile hypercalcemia. It's a devastating condition where unchecked calcium just completely floods the system.
Now, we can also accidentally bypass our natural fail-safes through exogenous toxicity, basically taking way too many synthetic supplements. If you massively overingest vitamin D and drive your circulating levels above 150 nanograms per milliliter, you fully saturate every single one of those vitamin D binding proteins. The excess free hormone just floods your cells, bypasses all the regulations, and starts pulling so much calcium into your blood that it can literally calcify your soft tissues like your heart and your arteries. It's a stark reminder of why biological balance is absolutely everything.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. We've seen how vitamin D isn't just some simple bone builder. It is a masterful secosteroid hormone that's intricately woven into the function of our DNA, our immune defenses, and our overall cellular health. Given how deeply our very genes rely on the epic journey of this molecule, is our modern, indoor, sun-deprived lifestyle secretly starving our cellular potential? Definitely something to chew on the next time you step outside into the sunlight. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep staying curious.